Hey, how you doing, everybody? Happy New Year. I hope this video finds you well. My name is Tim Ash. I am the owner and operator of Stories and Tongues Productions, video and audio production company, but also I have a podcast that I do on this channel. I just wanted to come on here just for a couple minutes and explain kind of where I've been for anyone who cares or wants to know. I have been kind of on a hiatus for the last year. The whole year of 2024, I was kind of out of the loop. So I wanted to tell you all that story and kind of give everybody an update on what 2025 is going to bring for me. All right. So here goes. My dad, Mike Ash, was diagnosed with stage 1 dementia back in August of 2023. I wasn't his primary caregiver, but my wife and I pretty much took care of him. He lived a block away from us, and he was my best friend. And he was diagnosed in August of 2023 officially. We kind of saw it coming for a few months. If anybody has gone through that or going through it, you know what I'm talking about. And basically, dementia just really hit him fast. He started going downhill, through the holidays last year and everything, and it just wasn't a good deal. We started seeing a lot of signs of dementia. He was getting lost a lot. We ended up having to take his driver's license away, of course, which that's only natural with that diagnosis. And we, celebrated the new year into 2024, hoping for good things, hoping that it was going to be a good year, just like everybody does, right? That's the prayer of everybody and the hope of everybody. And January 26th of 2024, a Saturday morning, I woke up and couldn't move my legs. I was completely, I wouldn't say paralyzed, but I would say definitely it felt like my legs were asleep and I had no feeling at all. Like I couldn't move my legs at all, and my hands were numb. My arms wouldn't work very well. So to wake up and not be able to move my legs was scary. I thought my dog was laying on my lap, but he wasn't. So my wife ended up taking me to the hospital. I got a temporary diagnosis of transverse myelitis. And I'll put the definition of transverse myelitis up so I don't have to explain it. But it was scary. Our whole world looked like it was about to change. And the second day I was in the hospital, that Sunday, my dad fell while he was in the shower and broke a few ribs. So I was in the hospital, still couldn't walk, didn't know what I was going to do, and I couldn't do anything. So my older brother, Joe, came down on Monday morning to try to help and take care of Dad. I hated it, man. I felt helpless and like I wanted to be there for my dad to help with everything, and I couldn't. I mean, literally, my brother brought him to the emergency room that Monday, and I was upstairs in the same building and just felt powerless. They checked Dad out, said that he had 2 broken ribs, and he was 79, so that was pretty painful for him. But he was a tough old bird, man, so he wasn't complaining, but he was in pain, and you could tell. My brother took him home. I was in the hospital for another 7 days before they figured they had pumped me full of a bunch of steroids and got me able to walk again within 5 to 6 days of being in the hospital. And then they had to make sure I was good enough to go before they let me go home without going to rehab or anything, which I didn't want to do. So 7 days later, I guess, from the day I got put in the hospital, I got to come home. 9 days, actually. I got to come home on that following Monday. And still wasn't in good shape. I could walk, but had to use a walker. Couldn't really grip anything or hold anything. It's a scary feeling. I mean, it was really scary and really, really, really scared me. I didn't even let my family know how bad it bothered me at the time. Just to recap on me, I basically once the steroids wore off, they checked me out again. They had done a couple spinal taps and checked spinal fluid and all these other things, and they did another CT scan and figured out that I had the, I don't want to get it wrong, I think the 4, 5, and 6, or 5, 6, and 7 vertebrae in my neck were messed up from an accident I was in like 24 years ago. And that was the cause of my legs and arms not working. That's what they figured out. They narrowed it down to that and the fact that they could fix it. So they fixed it, which is a good thing. That was a good thing. I didn't have surgery until May because they had to let the steroids wear off, and then they had to have time to plan the surgery and everything. So it was kind of a long and drawn out process, but we got through that. After I got out of the hospital, my dad wasn't doing very well. His mind was weird, and we thought, well, he has dementia, so it's just part of that. But it wasn't. We figured out that he had had a stroke, and that's why he fell in the shower, and that's how he broke his ribs. But because they were so worried about his ribs, they didn't really check his brain. And my dad did have an aneurysm back in '79 that he lived through. Told you he was a tough old bird. So they couldn't do like a CT, anything where they put him in an MRI machine because he had metal staples in his brain. So we learned a lot from that too. Honestly, within a few days of me getting out of the hospital, my dad had another stroke. At his house, my brother Mike, my oldest brother Mike, and I were there, and Dad had another stroke, and we called the ambulance, and he went to the hospital. And long story short, by that Sunday, so that was on Wednesday, by that Sunday they were telling us your dad wasn't going to come home from the hospital. He's not going to make it. So we gathered the family. We got to sing to him. We got to sing with him. We got to talk to him. Got to hold his hand and told him what a good dad he was and how proud we were to be his sons. And his brothers were there, and my daughters and some of my brother's daughters were there, and we got to say goodbye to him. So if there's any silver lining, it was that we did get to say goodbye, and he acknowledged that he knew we were there. And he passed away that following Tuesday. We had put him in hospice care on Sunday, and he passed on that Tuesday.
Living below in this old sinful world, hardly a comfort can afford.
And I've had a good life, and it's all because of Jesus.
Striving alone to face temptation so, won't you tell me where could I go but to the Lord?
Okay, doing the math so far. I woke up January 26th of 2024, couldn't walk, couldn't move. My dad falls in the shower the day after on January 27th. We find out he had a stroke. By February 13th, he passes. We did a funeral, we did all the stuff. I was still struggling to walk and everything, and ended up having my surgery late May of 2024. And then I had to recover from that for about 6 weeks. So it was pretty brutal. Everything was going along okay. I was working on writing new music and working on things, and kind of just coming to terms with the fact that my dad had passed. My brother Joe and I had started doing gigs together again. We do acoustic gigs, where we do I do solo and he does solo, and sometimes we would do them together. And people love it when we sing together, so we started gigging out together and doing some gigs, and it was great, man. It's nothing like singing with your brother and the harmonies that brings. And August of 2024, I can't remember the dates. I want to say the 20-something in August. It was a Saturday afternoon. I called my brother Joe at about 12:30 in the afternoon, and he said he was tired and he had been working outside, and I know he had had some issues with his sugar. And I got a phone call about 2 hours after I talked to him on the phone that he had had a massive stroke. And they were flying him to our local hospital here, Gateway Hospital, and I was going to meet him there. And long story short, because I really honestly don't want to get into the weeds of it, my brother Joe passed away. He was 55 years old, 4 years older than me. He died of a stroke. So the same day that my brother Joe passes, I called my job at the time, and I'm not going to mention who it was or anything. And there's no hard feelings. I'm way better off doing what I'm doing now. But they decided to terminate me. I told them I was going to be a few days because my brother was passing away, and I was his POA, and it was a bad deal. I hated being that person, but I had to be that person. And they basically let me go that same day. So I was unemployed. I was still going through this physical medical stuff, healing, but still dealing with some stuff. My dad died, and then my brother had just died. My other best friend, besides my wife and kids, of course, but my brother and my dad had been there my whole life, and I still have my brother Mike, thank God. I don't know what I'd do without him. But all that to say, that's been 2024 was a garbage year for me. I didn't know how to react. I had just kind of come to terms with my dad passing away when I got the call about my brother. And I went into survival mode. I think I had to be the strong one, like I always am in those situations. I had to be the one that took care of all the stuff that nobody else wanted to take care of, because that's who I am, and I'm okay with that. But I think somewhere along the lines, I didn't take the time to mourn my dad or my brother, either one. And after the fact, it really took a toll on me. It really physically took a toll on me. And I went down some dark paths in my brain, just not sure what is this life for, and what is it about, and what am I made for, and what am I meant to do, and honestly, am I next? Because the scariest part of the whole thing for me is I also suffer from hypertension and high blood pressure. My dad and my mom both had it, both died from complications of that. And my brother Joe died from a stroke. My dad and my brother both died from strokes. So I went to the doctor, and he basically said, man, you've seen your death. It's up to you when it comes. And you choose by what you do physically and what you eat and all those things. And I had gone down the rabbit hole of getting super fit, man. Back in 2017, I worked out and exercised and was doing all the things and felt great. I stopped drinking Mountain Dew altogether and all that stuff. And I knew that's what I needed to do, but man, I just was in a hole. I felt like I was down in a hole, trapped and lost. And I chose to be a victim for a little while, is the truth of it. And I'm not a victim. I want to be a hero, and I want to be a leader, and I want to be a guide to people. I want to tell you guys about a book, and this book is called Hero on a Mission. I'm going to hold that up there so you can see it, by Donald Miller. And I just want to say, this book changed my outlook on everything. I'd read it last year and recommended it to dozens of people who bought it, and I gave away several copies and rebought it again. And every person that got it, either from me or went out and got it and read it by my recommendation, were all like, dude, thank you so much for telling us about this book, and it's a great book. I think that was in 2023 and early 2024. It's a phenomenal book, but the idea is simple, and here's what it is. We choose to be a certain character in our story. There's 4 different characters that you can choose to be. You can choose to be the villain and the victim, or you can choose to be the hero and the guide. And it's up to you to choose. It's up to me to choose, every one of us. So in the midst of my grandma Kate, rest her soul, Grandma Kate would call it the midst of being in the mully grubs, being down on myself and feeling like, oh, what am I going to do? Who am I supposed to be? Feeling lost. And I know that's all okay. It's part of the mourning process, but it's time for that to be done. And just over the last few weeks, I've really realized I got to spend a lot of time with my kids and my grandkids. It just made me realize that's what I'm here for. I have to be here to be the example for them, for my girls and their husbands and their boyfriends, and for my boys to know how to be a man and how to be a good husband and how to be a good dad someday and all of those things. That's who I am. That's who I exist to be. So I'm choosing to be the hero. I've always been the hero. I've never chosen to be a victim or a villain. There for a little while this year, like I said, or not this year, late 2024, I felt like a victim. I felt like the world was against me. I felt like the Creator was against me. Like nobody knew how I was feeling and all those things, which is silly. And I've kind of come through the weeds of all that. And I'm back. For anybody who I interviewed in a podcast and I didn't post it, I apologize. I probably don't even need to do that, but I am going to post those. I think I have like 8 or 10 podcasts that are in what I call in the can still. I just need to edit them and put them out. I'm going to be doing that over the next couple of weeks. You're going to see some killer podcasts coming out. I have new interviews lined up. I'm going to be doing a bunch of new interviews for 2025. I have new music coming out. I have a lot of different stuff, some rock and roll, some country. I also am running my own production company now. As I said, when I lost my job, when my brother passed, I leaned on people and business owners that I know, and I started writing jingles for people, for companies, started writing music, what's called sync music for commercials and stuff, and started a video production company. Being that I've been in the business for so long on the music industry side, I've been around video production for a long time and have learned a whole lot. I have a lot of friends that do this. Creating commercials for people, I do a lot of short form video content for social media stuff. I'll have a whole bunch of that stuff coming out. I want to take this YouTube channel in a direction where I take you guys on a journey with me. That's the whole idea. I'm not going to attempt to try to teach anybody how to do video production or any of that stuff. That's not what this is about. But it's just a glimpse into my life and what I do. When I go to Nashville and do sessions and do songwriting sessions and recording sessions, I'm going to take my camera and record all that and share that with you guys. And then I'm also going to take you behind the scenes of some of my shoots that I do, commercial shoots that I do for different companies that I work with here, all that kind of fun stuff. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm starting another channel called The Right Idea. If anybody recalls, I used to do school assembly programs where I'd go into schools and talk to kids, and basically I taught them the golden rule: treat each other the way you want to be treated. That's the right idea. And I feel like part of what I need to do now is to do that. Share my thoughts and my ideas on how to be a better person and what those steps are. And that's what the Right Idea channel is going to be all about. I'm also starting a fitness journey again because, as I shared earlier, I got to keep my blood pressure down and get healthy and stay healthy. So I'm going to take you on that journey over on my other channel, The Right Idea. I'll be in the gym annoying people with my camera sometimes, and other times out working out or walking or whatever. And I'm going to try to share my thoughts as I do that stuff. So it's going to grow, and we'll see where it goes. It'll change as it grows, I think, and we'll see what happens. But I would love to have your input and see what you guys think about all of it. And I just want to share my life and my journey with people. I know a lot of people, and I think more than anything, at the end of the day, I just want to journal my life. We can't live in the past because yesterday's gone, and we're not guaranteed a tomorrow. So we got to live for today, live for the now, the people that are in your life, the things that you love to do. And that's what I'm going to do. From the day Joe died to the day that I die, that's what I'm going to do. Things that matter and things that I want to do. So I'm inviting you along on my journey, and we'll see where it goes. I don't have any expectations. If you want to share this, share it. If you like what you see, tell other people about it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this. And I look forward to the future, and I'll see you in the next one.